The first step to a good mark time is to start off with your heels together and you will create a 45-degree angle with your feet. This is also known as first position. To move your feet into the ski lines, you will simply move your left foot in, and then following that, will move your right foot in, ending with your feet together in parallel lines. To start a mark time, you will start with your feet in first position or at a 45-degree angle, and you will hear the words mark, time, mark. The audible check in 1 is used to get you ready for the next step. Each time you move your feet up and down, your heel should raise up to the ankle bone of the other foot. Continue this motion until instructed to stop. Forward marching is an essential component of marching band. Most of a marcher's show drill will be in a forward march and slide toward the front sideline. The key to a great forward march is to keep your core engaged at all times and to lift your upper body out of your hips. While forward marching, it is also important to keep feet in the ski lines that your feet create with a parallel shape. In preparation for a forward or backward march, it is best to keep weight centered over the platforms of your feet. Keeping your legs straight and pushing with the heel is how to initiate this movement. When counting, the ands of every beat should be when your legs cross. If done right, the forward march should be a great fluid motion that allows for a smooth sound while playing. Backwards marching is an extremely important part of the visual confidence and strength that a band displays. The trick to a good backwards march is to keep your legs in the ski lines, which will ensure that you will move in a straight path and will not bounce as you move. Ski lines are the lines your legs make when backwards marching with straight legs and a straight path. Keeping your legs straight and heels lifted off the ground creates an elevation change that makes the band members seem bigger and more confident. Allowing for a disconnect between your upper and lower body will help you lift your upper body up and out of your hips. If done right, while backwards marching, your body should make a straight line from your back all the way down to your legs. There are many step sizes, such as 6 to 5, 8 to 5, 12 to 5, and 16 to 5. You may have to adjust your step size based on how long your legs are. Even and consistent step size is important. In basics, determining proper step size is easy. You are given a command for step size, such as 8 to 5. With that, everyone in the band should be completing 8 steps in 5 yards. To keep step size consistent, you will need to do 2 things. 1. Determine a halfway point. In basics, the halfway point will almost always be the same no matter what step size because you are going 5 yards at a time. 2. Dress to your lines, forwards and to the sideline, so that your step size matches those around you. When conducting drill or marching through the show, you'll find that there won't always be a specific step size between dots, so finding a halfway point is imperative. A dot sheet will tell you how many steps you should take to your next dot, and by having that number, you can figure out how many steps it should take to hit the halfway point. Using a half point will allow smoother transitions and corrections for step size. This will keep the form on the field correct as well. Placements for boxes 1 and 2 will always be led with the toe. If you are going to the right, place the toe at a 45-degree angle to the right. For box 1, you will begin in first position and go into a mark time for 8 counts. Following that mark time, you will forward march for 8 counts, and on count 8, will place your right foot at a 45-degree angle towards your left foot and continue to march at a left forward slide. Make sure to keep your shoulders square to the front sideline at all times. After you have marched to the left for 8 counts, you will place your right heel towards the right at a 45-degree angle and continue into a backwards march for 8 counts. Once you have finished backwards marching, you must place your right foot at a 45-degree angle to your right and perform a forward right slide for 8 counts. You will conclude box 1 in first position, so on count 8, point your foot towards the right and halt with your left heel touching your right in first position. After box 1, you will forward march again for 8 counts. On count 8, place your right heel to the left at a 45-degree angle. Then, you go into a forward right slide for 8 counts. On that count 8, you place your right foot at a 45-degree angle to the left and go into a backwards march for 8 counts. On count 8, you will place your right foot straight forward and forward left slide for 8 counts. You will conclude box 2 in a 45-degree angle, also known as first position. Placements for boxes 3 and 4 will always be led with the heel. If you are going to the right at a backwards march, place your heel at a 45-degree angle to the right. Box 3 is very similar to box 1 with a few minor changes. First is a forward 8. At the end of those first 8 counts, place your left heel at a 45-degree angle to the left. Next is a backward slide to the left for 8 counts. The placement used to go into a standard backwards march will be a 45-degree angle to the right. After going backward for 8 counts, place your right foot into a 45-degree angle to the left to aid in turning your upper body toward the front sideline. After a backward slide for 8 counts, come into a halt with your feet at the attention position, also known as first position. Box 4 is very similar to box 2 with a few minor changes. First is a forward 8. At the end of those first 8 counts, place your right heel at a 45-degree angle to the right. Next is a backward slide to the right for 8 counts. The placement used to go into a standard backwards march will be a 45-degree angle to the left. After going backward for 8 counts, place your right foot into a 45-degree angle to the left. After a backward left slide for 8 counts, come into a halt with your feet at the attention position, also known as first position. From a visual perspective of a judge, band director, or audience member, it is very important to make sure that your shoulders are parallel to the sideline of the field. The first reason this is important is because if you have a very visual instrument, for example a sousaphone or baritone, you want the front of your bell to be facing the audience, not the end zones. To accomplish this, you need to make sure that your shoulders are parallel to the sideline. The next reason that it is important to keep your shoulders square to the front is because it will make the band look more uniform. If everyone looks the same when marching, i.e., everyone keeping their shoulders to the front, the show will look cleaner and more impressive overall. The exercise we use to help with shoulders is front 45-90. In this exercise, you try to accomplish getting shoulders all the way around to the end zones where they are parallel. To begin this exercise, you stand with your feet facing the front sideline. After this, you will take the upper half of your body, which is from your hips up, and turn it about 45 degrees to the left. This is probably going to feel slightly uncomfortable at first. This angle is where you're going to leave your hips when you slide. After that, you are going to take your shoulders to a 90-degree angle, leaving your hips at the 45. Now that you have your shoulders facing the end zone, this is what it's going to be like when you do any sort of slides towards an audience. The following is the count structure that can be used for the front 45-90 exercise. Turn 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 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 Halt. Flutes are one of the most visual instruments while on the field other than sousaphones. Flutes are often focal points during the show. Therefore, it is important for flute players to be aware of their flute angles at all times. Flutes should be held perpendicular to the ground in carriage and parallel to the ground in attention. At attention, it is important to push the instrument forward to help lessen the tension in the shoulders. In carriage position, flutes should be held to where the cross-section of the head joint and the body of the instrument are at eye level. To have the best posture, it is essential to incorporate the posture we maintain in warm-up. That way it is easier for the player to hold the flute parallel. For carriage, you keep the body of the saxophone parallel with the ground, and keep your hands in the normal places they are, except move them to be on top of the saxophone as opposed to on the keys. For horns up, you bring your saxophone up and out away from your body. Keep in mind that the body of the saxophone should also be parallel with yours. Lastly, Make sure your left elbow is out and creates a 90-degree angle with the rest of your body. Watch as this saxophone player demonstrates a snappy horns up and a snappy carriage. In the standby position, have the clarinet resting on your right hand thumb and put your left hand over top of the middle joint. When you go to the carriage position, you want to press all the keys down and make your arms go into a 90-degree angle with the clarinet bisecting that angle. Make sure that the ligature is at eye level, that way you don't get hit in the mouth and break your reed in the event of a quick horns up. For the brass carriage, make sure the mouthpiece is at eye level and that the brass instrument itself is straight up and down. You should be able to drop the instrument and it to be able to land right on its bell. One tip for if you are at carriage and the visual calls for a snappy or quick horns up is to press all the valves down. This will help you to get a better grip on the horn and make it a snappier horns up. This tip can be applied to any brass instrument and some woodwind instruments.